EIU head coach Chris Wilkerson, the team coming off an overtime loss at home against UT Martin last week. Back in action at home, number 5 ranked Tennessee Tech comes to town. So, coach, some thoughts about your squad, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Just, again, disappointing result at the end of the football game. Did some good things, but just didn't do enough. And I've never questioned the guys' effort and their preparation and their toughness, but we just left some plays out there, and so unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick again. But tip of the hat to Coach Martin, excuse me, Coach Simpson and UT Martin. They did a phenomenal job in their preparation, and obviously at the very end of the game, they scored to get it into tie the game, and we had a chance to kick a field goal again at the end of regulation, and didn't come through there, and in overtime they were able to score and convert, and we got stuffed on fourth down. So hey, there's no time to settle on or dwell on this. We're on to certainly Tennessee Tech this week, and a very, very extremely talented, well coached football team. You mentioned it, number 5 in the country, 9-0 this season, one of only 5 teams in FCS that are undefeated, 14 games in a row. They're in the top 10 and 15 to 20 different statistical categories. They got a heck of a football team. They're very well coached. And we got our hands full this Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. Barry is with us. Go ahead, Barry.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you today?
Good morning, Barry.
First question I had for you, I want to ask you about Landers Green, who scored his first touchdown for you. And I wanted to ask you about just what Landers has added to the receiving group and added to the offense this season.
Yeah, Landers has continued to grow and improve as a player every single week that he's been here. And he had a lot of production before arriving at Eastern Illinois. And, I think it was a little bit of a shock to his system. It didn't happen as fast as he had hoped, but a credit to him. He stayed with it. He worked really, really hard. He's continued to develop and has provided us some consistency at the outside receiver position. Cooper got banged up, obviously, at the end of the game, but between Cooper and Darius, they played an awful lot of football for us, and Landers has really, really worked hard and been a steady addition to that. And he's going to certainly have some great opportunities here over the last few weeks of the season, and then hopefully next season as well.
Speaking about opportunities, are there still young guys that you want to see a little bit of down the stretch here?
Yeah, there will be at times if they earn it, and we have the opportunity to play them. But our biggest concern is certainly in our preparation and trying to continue to develop the guys that are on the roster and prepare ourselves the best that we possibly can for each Saturday that remains. And our focus is completely on this Saturday.
How different is Tennessee Tech from the team you saw last year?
Wow. They're much deeper. I mean, you go through the statistical stuff, and they're number 1 in the country in scoring offense. They're number 1 in the country in rushing defense. They're number 1 in the country in defensive touchdowns. They're number 2 in the country in team sacks. They're number 4 in the country in scoring defense and total defense, and 10 in total offense, and 7 in red zone offense. And I mean, the numbers just go on and on and on and on and on. They are physical. They are aggressive. They are fast and twitchy. Up front on defense and on the perimeter, their 2 corners are as good as anybody that I've seen in all the years that I've coached college football. They don't give you any room to breathe. There's no space. Every inch is going to be contested. And so, the longer the quarterback has to hold on to the football, one of those guys in the front 6 can certainly get home. For them to be able to move Therian Gaines to middle linebacker and then to watch him grow and improve as an inside linebacker is unbelievable. They do some really good things. And again, credit to Bobby and his staff. They've assembled a great group of talent. They have certainly developed a great group of talent, and they've got great scheme as a base scheme, but they change things week to week to take advantage of what whoever they're playing does. And they do just a phenomenal job of it. They put their kids in great positions. They create great matchups. So they are deep and physical, and a rugged, well-coached football team. So they've improved a lot since we saw them the last time, and certainly they were very good at that point. That was in the midst of their 14-game winning streak.
They have 19 different players who have at least 1 sack, and I wanted to ask a little bit about the challenge for your offensive line and kind of what's your mantra with your offensive line this week, and what do you need them to do?
Yeah, no, it talks about the depth. I mean, that's what they've created. That's a massive difference for teams in the top 5 or 10 at the FCS level is the depth that you create, especially on both lines of scrimmage or in the core areas. And they are able to roll guys through, and that pays dividends late in the year when teams are banged up, or when somebody does get banged up, that they've got experienced players that are productive, that they trust, that can go in there and make plays. They've been able to balance out some of the snaps. And again, they're surrounded by all Americans. Again, the safety is unbelievable. Like I said, they don't give you an inch to breathe. They're playing about 10 different variations of some type of man-to-man coverage. But they just get up in your face, and they're physical and they're aggressive and they're well coached. And, like I said, we're going to have our hands full. That's for doggone sure.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about, how much is your run game needed in a game like this to kind of possess the ball?
Well, you need to be able to attempt to run the football or try to run the football a little bit efficiently. But again, they're the number one rush defense in the country for a reason. They're going to overwhelm you with numbers in the core, and they get off blocks. We broke down all 9 of their football games, and you're talking about a ton of snaps, and there's only 7 explosive runs for the entire season. And almost every one of those runs was late in the game, and a guy just missed a tackle or they misfit one of their base runs. They are never going to be outnumbered in the running game. And then they're going to force you to hold on to the football a little bit and overwhelm you up front. So yeah, we're going to have to attempt to run the football efficiently in situations. Last week, Gardner Webb, I think, did a really good job in short yardage. Some critical 3rd and 1s. And now they were in a wildcat look, and they had some big blockers in there, and they were barely able to get the 1 yard needed to extend some drives, just to be able to stay in the game. That's how talented they are. They are a generational, talented, well-coached, developed, and built football team from top to bottom.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks a million.
Coach, I was just curious about in your game with UT Martin, the passing efficiency of both teams. They were 22 of 29. You all were 19 of 23. What was sort of working, especially on your offensive side, working with the efficiency there?
Yeah, and again, that's something that we have really worked hard on trying to improve as the season's gone on. Obviously, Connor Wolf is a redshirt freshman and Cole LaCruz is a redshirt sophomore. Neither had a ton of college experience before the start of this season. And they both had their ups and their downs passing the football. Cole certainly had a little more success with his feet, but they both continued to develop as passers. And that's something that we have to be able to do. We were certainly more conservative the week before at Charleston Southern and wanted to make sure that, hey, Cole understood we were going to let it go. And Connor was certainly available, and he came in and was 5 for 5. They were both as efficient as we've had, and then that did open up the offense just a little bit. Red zone has been a problem for us offensively. We've gotten down in there, and then we either settle for field goals or we don't convert. And so we were 3 for 3 until the overtime with red zone touchdowns. Unfortunately, we missed the 1 extra point. And then obviously in overtime, we got ourselves into a 4th and 1. And, we thought we had a good play called. And again, one of their guys really did a phenomenal job just beating somebody and tackling us in the backfield. So the efficiency of the passing has got to continue to improve. Both guys have improved a little bit, but there's still an awful lot of room for improvement. And you're going to have to be able to throw the football against Tech, and every single throw is going to be contested. There's no access. They're not going to play off on one side. They're not going to play a lot of standard cover 2. They're not going to play a lot of standard cover 3 or cover 4 or quarter half. Every inch is going to be contested, and then they're going to certainly free up the All-American safety as much as possible and let him rally, or just try to free him up and let him be a ball hawk like he is. Again, they're very well coached and a very talented team.
What about when you're playing an efficient team? UT Martin, if they weren't first, they're in the top 5 in efficiency, and Tech's quarterback is pretty efficient too. What do you do to take somebody out of rhythm when they're in a rhythm?
Yeah, you hope that you can by certainly disrupting them up front and being able to stop the run and get them in a one-sided thing. But last week, Martin, certainly they controlled the clock for almost 40 minutes. They're the one team in the league that had a better time of possession than us, and they did a really nice job running with the quarterback. Jason talked about it last week, trying to make you create a 11-on-11 situation and account for the quarterback. And so all of a sudden, they're able to convert, and we weren't very efficient on first down defensively. And that led to 15 play drives or 17 play drives. And we buckled down and made them kick field goals. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. But when you're committed to stopping the run like that, for some teams like us, it certainly puts your secondary in a little bit of risk. And if the quarterback is efficient, which they have been, it's really tough. Again, the quarterback at Tech is as good as anybody in the country. In my opinion, he's a Peyton Award finalist, and depending on how they finished, he may be the Peyton Award winner. He will shred you if you load the box. I mean, he will shred you. And they are extremely talented on the perimeter. I don't know if Robinson's going to make it back this week. It looks like he might have been hurt last week. But they're very talented. Again, they're deep on the perimeter offensively with their skill guys, and if you don't load up the three-headed monster at tailback, and that offensive line are just going to chew you up, and they're just going to go right down on the field for you. So they can run it when they want to, they can throw it when they want to. He can certainly he's got a great grasp of the RPOs that they run, and they just put him in great position. I mean, the schemes don't vary much, but they will misdirection and smoke and mirrors and dress things up with eye candy, and one linebacker goes one direction and one goes the other way, and not only are they good and physical and attached to you, but all of a sudden you're a guy short, and boom, those backs finish those runs. They're explosive and dangerous every single snap on offense.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a million. Go Panthers.